For the longest time, JoJo Siwa has been known as a cheerful and family-friendly teen role model, but lately she's been trying to rebrand herself with a bad girl persona to break free from her child star image. However, her effort seems to be backfiring, making her look more like a child than ever before. In the last couple of years, we've seen many child stars transition from their youthful identities to adulthood. While some have matured and grown gradually, some have spiraled out of control and made some pretty questionable decisions along the way. And it seems like JoJo Siwa's attempt to transform herself from the smiley teen role model to a rebellious, edgy pop star isn't going as planned, as her transition has been met with countless backlash, and a lot of people felt like her new image was disingenuous and false, which is quite understandable given her previous persona. Hi, I'm Elijah, and today we're going to be going over why the rebranding of JoJo Siwa is completely failing. So grab yourself some snack, water, and let's get into this. JoJo became a reality star at just 9 years old and rose to fame when she competed on the hit show Dance Moms. And over the last couple of years, JoJo had been seen as a cheerful and family-friendly teen role model. And with her being a kid's role model, it shouldn't come as a surprise that she's gained millions of followers on her social media and YouTube channel. She would make a decision that would make her a global superstar by releasing her hit song, Boomerang. This breakthrough opened doors for her to collaborate with Nickelodeon, leading to appearance in a few children's TV shows, the release of numerous songs, and even had her own featured film, The J-Team. And JoJo became a Nickelodeon superstar. She even started her own merchandise line called JoJo's Bow Club, which was by far her biggest source of income, selling 80 million bow and making well over 400 millions in just bow sales alone. And as the article stated, even if she's only getting a fraction of that number, that's a serious chunk of cash, which made her filthy rich at just 17 years old. But as she was approaching adulthood, it's only natural that JoJo wanted to break away from the child star image that everyone knew her for. But the problem is, rather than slowly transitioning into adulthood and maturing along the way, she was instead trying so hard to drastically change her image overnight, and that made it feel false and inauthentic. For instance, while Miley Cyrus began her transition from child star to adult pop icon in 2010 with the release of Can't Be Tamed, it wasn't until 3 years later, during the Bangers era, that she fully embraced the transformation. In contrast, JoJo tried to rush into adulthood, but growing up is something no one can really hurry. But her fans started to notice her sudden transition when she posted a series of pictures on Instagram and TikTok, each with a single caption that reads, "See you in 1 month, remember, karma's a bitch." The inclusion of a cuss word in her post came as a surprise to many of her followers. I think JoJo is in her fuck it era. It looks so illegal to see JoJo putting a cuss word on her captions, but in reality, all she was actually doing was promoting her new song called Karma by doing bad publicity. JoJo went on a mini media tour to bring attention to upcoming music and spent a month constantly teasing it on her Instagram. And at the Glad Media Award, JoJo even claimed in an interview that no one has made this extreme of a change in her generation.
No one has made this dramatic of a change yet. No one has made, in my generation, this extreme of a switch. And I am the first in the generation. It is very scary, but someone's got to do it.
But no one was actually ready for what was about to come. On the 5th of April 2024, she released the song she's been teasing, and everyone was shocked in the worst way possible. She was wearing a Kiss cosplay outfit and was dancing quite aggressively with provocative lyrics. And it didn't help that she started with the line, "I was a bad girl, I did some bad things," when her previous persona was just her being a smiley, colorful role model for kids who was always family friendly. And per classic internet fashion, people went in on her in the comments. "You saw pink glittery and unicorn bows at Walmart. You made a cereal called Strawberry Pop. Why did she come out the water like Pennywise?" And let me just say, these are some of the nicer comments. As you probably guessed it got more brutal the more you went down. But if you're an adult looking at this, all you see is just a girl that's trying to push this bad girl narrative so hard, it became cringy and made it come across as ingenuine. Following the release of her song, she did an interview and she was making huge claims. She said that there's never really been an influencer child star turned into musician adult star.
It's been fun. There's never really been an influencer child star turned into musician adult star.
Which couldn't be further away from the truth, because all you have to do is just look at Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo, or the classic one, Miley Cyrus. All these people has done what she claimed no one did yet, and all that did was made JoJo came across as someone who is arrogant and needs to be humbled. And in the same interview, she said something that she definitely shouldn't have.
The genre is, I said it back in the day when I first signed with Columbia, I said I want to start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop. And they were like...
She said that she invented this style, which, again, couldn't be more wrong, as a week later, she wore back her claim when she was interviewed by TMZ.
Do you want to go back on your statement and say that you weren't the inventor of gay pop?
I definitely am not the inventor of gay pop, for sure not.
However, things got worse when people realized that it sounded like something that was made in 2010, and that's because it was. Karma was allegedly meant for Miley Cyrus, but her contract with Disney at the time prevented her from saying the B word in public. It was then offered to Britt Smith, who recorded the song and planned to release it as a debut single, but she said that her label told her to release Provocative instead.
Yes, yeah, back in 2012, so it's a shock to me that it's got a new life, which is amazing. But yeah, with Rock Mafia back in the day, it was supposed to be my first single. And just sort of things changed and I went with Provocative instead, and shouldn't have done that really. We should have gone with Karma. That was my first choice, but label things got in the way and I kind of was led in that direction, and we went with Provocative, and then I left the industry after that.
After Provocative underperformed, Smith left the music industry entirely. But because the song was already written and sang by someone else but was never released, people started calling JoJo Siwa a thief. But to clear things up, she did address the situation and explain that she holds the right to it.
A lot of people think you stole that from Miley or Britt Smith. Now they're accusing you of stealing the song from Britt Smith on the internet. Can you give us a little background? Where'd you get the song? Was Miley involved?
Okay. So the background on Karma, honestly, it's an old song. I was pitched it. I loved it, was obsessed with it, so I grasped onto it.
Why not that instead of a new song?
No, that's a very normal thing. A lot of songs are okay. What happens is people write songs and then they just don't do anything with them, and then a few years later it makes more sense for another artist.
No one can really blame her for not knowing who Britt Smith is, because she did only release one song and left the industry. But Britt Smith actually got approval to release her version of the song only a week later, and people seem to like it way more than JoJo's version, as it didn't contain the aggressive dance and had way better vocal performance. And if it was released back in 2012, it would have definitely gone viral. At this time, Britt's version have over 7 million streams, which is a lot for someone who was barely known in the music industry. But people really started to feel like everything was just ingenuine because she openly admitted that she didn't even feel comfortable saying the lyrics.
First word is, I was a bad girl, and I was like, oh fuck, it's a good song. I was like, but I can't say that. I can't say I'm a bad girl. I'm not. What kind of bad girl would feel scared to say these lyrics? And she said that she was heavily inspired by Miley. But the difference between Miley and her is, Miley actually felt like she was viewed as a child star for years, and repeatedly stated in multiple interviews how she resented the Hannah Montana character. But regardless of how shocking the things Miley did, she never explained herself and kept moving forward, till everyone understood that this is who she was, and that's what the real bad girl is. But it seems like JoJo is only trying to copy that, and even then, she's not even doing it the right way. And JoJo's rebrand feels like it's only a business move rather than her actually trying to break out of the child star image, which makes everything she's done so far feel false. And with her constantly talking about her rebrand, it doesn't help. Instead of letting it happen, she keeps going on any interview she can get her hands on to mainly talk about how she's rebranding herself. And she mentioned constantly that the lyrics aren't actually her. If you can't relate to your own lyrics, then how can you think that your own fans will connect with you? But it seems like people not buying her new girl persona is on her. I found a comment that was left on one of her posts that described everything perfectly. This is why you should have stopped acting like a toddler / 5 years old until your 20s. Which is true, I mean, up until her late teen, this is how she was still dressing. So it's no wonder people isn't really buying this new JoJo Siwa, and while change is meant to happen to everyone, it must be genuine and authentic. It shouldn't feel false, and that's why her rebranding is failing big time.